orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care. Join us here for your prescription to better health. Hello, South Florida and beyond, and welcome to the program tonight. We really have another action-packed program for you as you're driving around South Florida, going to your holiday parties or getting that last-minute gift for the upcoming holidays, or you're just viewing on Facebook Live or AMP2 TV or even YouTube. Nowadays, we're everywhere. So as we're waiting for our first guest, he's fighting a little bit of traffic. So we all know how that is this time of the year, especially in Boca Raton here, how it's just changed. The highways are just full. So I want to tell you a little bit about our sponsor since we have a little extra time here. So this program, How to Stay Healthy, is where you can get the latest health news. We bring on a whole collection of doctors, nurse practitioners, even got a healthcare author that I'm working on to get on the program to talk about elder care. We brought you the Medicare show with a Medicare specialist to tell you a little bit about Medicare during open enrollment, which I believe is still going for Medicare. I believe it goes until December 15th, so there's one more week to kind of find out, if what Medicare plan would be best for you. And like I said, our sponsor of the show is All County Healthcare Incorporated. They are a Medicare certified agency. Patients are the heart of their business. They also are a home health care agency. And if you have any questions about home health, you can, call Maddie at 954-717-7027. She can answer any of your healthcare questions, home healthcare questions, Medicare questions, anything you need. And you can always view us on Facebook Live, and that's All County Healthcare. You just type it into their the browser there on Facebook, and you can get the show live. I'm actually doing it right now as I'm talking. I'm sharing the show, and then you can send it to loved ones. Anyone looking to get the latest on dermatology news, this would be a good program for them to view, as well as skin cancer, because we have the top dermatologist in the area, Dr. Brent Schillinger, tonight. Dr. Schillinger, I know you fought some traffic. Welcome to the program.
Lots of traffic. Oh, my gosh.
Hasn't it just exploded around here lately?
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Are you a resident locally? I mean, your practice is in Delray, so.
Sure.
I asked you
I've been
time.
Here since 1983. So I guess that qualifies me from before you were born.
Yeah. No, almost. You almost got me. I know I got the baby face. But I wanted to have you on the program again because we've still been talking a lot about skin cancer, and I know I had you on earlier this year. It was a very action-packed show. We had got so much info out there about skin cancer. I know we talked about the different types as well. But you are doing so much, so that's why another reason I wanted to have you on the show. Everything, I'm finding news stories on you, how you're helping with tattoo removals for, people who kind of want to get out of the gang life. That was an amazing story I'm going to talk with you about in a little while, as well as all the charity work and stuff you're doing in the islands always. I know you love the Bahamas.
Actually, we're going to the Bahamas Sunday.
Oh, is this timely?
To do some work. And I'm also now chair of the Medical Society Opioid Action Project. So we have a opioid initiative for the medical community as a whole. So that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, but we're going to touch on it tonight because I saw there's a ton lately. That's really been something that you and the Palm Beach County Medical Society have been working on.
Exactly.
So I promised the listeners we talk a little bit about skin cancer. So let's start that first. Are skin cancer rates in the U.S. growing?
Absolutely, and there's a lot of speculation as to why that has been. Ever since I've been studying dermatology, which dates back to the late 1970s, skin cancer seems to be a lot more of that around. The good news is I believe we are catching it and detecting it at a much earlier stage. When I first moved to Florida in the early 80s, some of the patients that would come in had such advanced disease by the time they showed up in the office. we don't see a lot of that advanced disease anymore. We see a lot of it, but we're able to catch it at early stage. And a lot of that is thanks to awareness programs like yours, a lot of public campaigns, and people just paying a lot more attention.
And going to their doctor or dermatologist more often, right? Getting those routine checkups.
Exactly.
That helps a lot.
Not waiting till a part of your body is ready to fall off.
Yeah, because as a doctor, you have a lot of tools if it's caught early on. As it goes to a later stage, that toolbox kind of shuts, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we encourage prevention first with anything to do with the skin and skin cancer as well as any part of medicine. So prevention is the key, and people can prevent things by being careful with the sun, which we have plenty of here. So that's the number one thing. The number two thing, early diagnosis. So if something looks a little weird, that's the way I identify it. Something looks like it doesn't belong there, you need to get that checked out. So prevention first, early detection second, and if it's detected, some type of quick, simple treatment to cure these things.
And I know, as listeners know, we had a general surgeon here on Tuesday night, and I asked her, who refers you to the most? Because she does a lot of skin cancer surgeries, and she was like dermatologist doing. I was like, wow, really? Well, and that's another reason I want to have you on the show so timely, because you work like with teams, whether they're in your healthcare network or not, you're working for the quality of the patient.
What you're talking about in terms of general surgery would be for advanced skin cancer. So a lot of the early ones we can do right in the office, even that day that you walk in.
Right in your office?
Is that simple, yeah.
Wow.
So I do a lot of that surgery immediately. But when we get more advanced cases, particularly some of the melanoma cases, which is the most deadly of the skin cancers, which we are seeing more of all the time, these oftentimes will need to be referred to the next level, which would be a plastic surgeon, general surgeon, because they have to do special lymph node studies and may have to cut out a very large piece of the skin.
Oh, that's why, because the cancer may have traveled, so they're going to looking in other areas as well.
Exactly. And with melanoma, the key is you have to take out a lot of extra tissue to make sure it hasn't spread to any of the surrounding areas. Because melanoma, which is the most common cancer that can kill women under the age of 40, it is, and is very, very common, particularly in young people. It's not something that you have to be old to get.
Wow, I didn't know that. I know you mentioned it last time, but it definitely, I'm going to file that away. Now, I wanted to ask you about driver's side melanoma, because one of my colleagues actually got it from driving to work and taking that sun every day, and I've noticed it as I'm driving down 95 in the morning. I guess I go right when that sun comes up, and I get a little heat on my face. There's such thing as driver's side melanoma.
Gee, I didn't ever hear it referred to that way, but it's possible. I think a lot of the sun exposure on the side that you drive has to do with, particularly in the old days when people had their windows down before the air conditioning and when they're convertibles. And it also explains why in a place like the United Kingdom or the Bahamas, the lighter skinned people probably have more skin cancers on the right side. Okay, so if they're doing a left-hand drive, I guess it depends where the steering wheel is. But that being said, I think a certain amount of the light does come through the window. Okay, so they're not perfect. They used to tell us, the window blocks, it's pretty protective and blocks a lot of the rays. When you have the special applications put on the windows, that can be helpful, but it's not 100%. And as you know, in Florida, the law says you can only go so dark on the driver's side and on the front windows.
I was looking on your website today because there's a lot of great information on there, and one of it was about how high competency with all shades of skin. That's something that you take pride in. You were just kind of talking about that different shades of skin. There's a whole different way of treating and looking at different types of skin cancer just because the shade of the skin.
It's interesting because in more recent times, in a lot of the medical specialties, we take a look at differences in different ethnicities. If it's Hispanic skin, if it's black skin, if it's a black person, Hispanic person, Native American, Asian. In dermatology, we've been sensitive to this for many years because it's right on the surface and you can see a lot of differences. And depending on how much melanin is in the skin, many things can appear a lot different. Now, if we look at the African American population, for instance, traditionally it's always been considered these folks, they don't have skin cancer because they got all this melanin protection. Truth of the matter is, there is skin cancer. And we always like to talk about Bob Marley, the poster boy for melanoma. And he's a fairly dark guy, and he got melanoma under his toenail. He actually was an avid soccer player and thought it was just a soccer injury and a little bit of bruising on the nail. Turned out to be deadly melanoma that killed him.
Yeah, wow, and that is unbelievable. I have heard that before, but thanks for telling us about that. Now, I'd like to stay on the skin cancer topic for a second, but another thing I saw on your website, and let me give that website out. It's drbrentschillinger.com. You can just type into your browser, and that some skin problems, I know not skin cancer maybe, but can be treated with creams, ointments, and maybe a lotion, something that can be also given right in the office or a prescription for as well. I saw that on the website.
Yeah, one of the things on that website, we tried to be creative, and we called it Keep It Simple, Dermatology.
I saw.
Because I think, medicine and technology has evolved to such a level that oftentimes we think if it's high-tech, if it's available, if it's fancy, if it's expensive, that must be the best way to do it. Having done this for a number of years, I can tell you, certainly in my area of expertise in dermatology, there's a lot of things we can do very simple. So my philosophy is if we can take care of it right now, 1, 2, 3, give you something simple to treat and get rid of whatever the problem is, that's the way to go. We don't want to make it complicated.
I just want to say hello to Bobby saying hello to us on Facebook. We're Facebook
Hello,
Live
Bob.
right now. Hey,
Worldwide,
Bob, type in a
worldwide.
question there if you got one, and I'll see if I can get it in front of Dr. Schillinger while he's here. Now, I want to go back one more little segment here on skin cancer. So I know last time you told us there was 3 kind of major ones: melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, and squamous cell carcinoma.
Correct.
Could you kind of give us a brief description on, and one of them is more prevalent than the others,
Exactly.
I remember.
Exactly. Basal cell is the most common, although these days we see an awful lot of squamous cell. And I put both of them in a similar category. We see a lot of it in the sunny places like South Florida. A lot of people have this. We're able to catch it early. The treatment is generally very, very successful. Cure rates 95, 98% if caught fairly early. And very rarely do these things get to the level where they're spreading to other parts of the body, though they do for people who ignore them. We could tell you a lot of stories about people who just are in denial and ignore them. So those are the most common ones by far. Melanoma is the least common, but is rapidly increasing in terms of the prevalence, and that's the one that can kill you in like maybe 3 to 6 months. So it's something that can just come up as a little spot. Usually it's a little pigmented spot, and if that's not taken care of, it can be very serious. So the rule of thumb, I say, something that's been there for years is not changing, you don't need to worry about it. Something that's been there that's suddenly changing, size, shape, color, bleeding, it looks, like I said before, weird, that should be checked out. It's never an emergency, but I wouldn't put this off for 2 or 3 months.
I see, definitely. Don't put it off. Go see your doctor.
Right. You don't have to do it tomorrow morning, but sometime in a reasonable period of time, a few weeks or so, it makes sense to me.
If it's changing size, color, shape, may want to have it looked at a little further.
Absolutely.
That's a great information there. I want to tell listeners where you're located, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's at 3100 South Federal Highway, Suite 8, Delray Beach.
That's correct.
Right down the road, right here from the studio.
Just
here
a
in
stone's
Boca.
throw.
Yeah.
Not too far if it's not during the rush hour.
Yeah, that's a nice area, Delray, too. I love that area, right off downtown there. So if you have any questions, Dr. Schillinger's number to his office is 561-278-1362. Like I said, drbrentschillinger.com. You're just going to put the DR in the taskbar there. So it's DR, his name Brent, and Schillinger, SCHILLINGER.com. Now, you do a lot of cosmetic work as well. I noticed everything from Botox, Restylane, Paralyn, Juvederm, which I've heard a lot in the news lately, Sculptra, Sclerotherapy? Sclerotherapy. Laser hair reduction as well. Rosacea treatments. I got that one right.
Correct,
I know that.
correct.
Brown spots, hyperpigmentation, and melasma?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
The mask of pregnancy.
Wow.
Melasma, that's where they get that name from.
Oh.
You don't have to be pregnant to get it, though, but it's oftentimes hormonally induced. A lot of women, particularly in a Hispanic population, it's a big problem because the sun exposure, along with either birth control pills or pregnancy or just some genetic inclination, produces a lot of these brownish spots. In Spanish, las manchas. or the pañuelas. And the women, they hate that. We have come up with some newer techniques where we've had some success in lightening them with a combination of certain creams and some type of laser therapy. In fact, I was up at NYU last year for a lecture. I just happened to catch one of the doctors presenting an alternative approach, which we've had some pretty good success with. Fairly simple, fairly successful.
Nice. That's what we're going to take a quick break here, and on the other side, I want to talk to you a little bit about more cosmetic treatment that you do in your office, and then some of the great charity work you're doing, because I know you're always so involved, and I got to let everyone know on the How to Stay Healthy show. How to stay healthy. It's a question asked by many people and answered by few. On How to Stay Healthy with David DePino, I'm going to bring you the latest in health news by interviewing top doctors from South Florida and around the world. Tune in on Fridays at 5:30 p.m. right here on WWNN Radio 95.3 FM and 1470 AM, the Health and Wealth Network, to hear the latest health treatments. And my curveball question of the hobbies and passions in life doctors pursue when not providing medicine.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare home care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
And now back to How to Stay Healthy, your weekly doctor's interview and prescription to better health. Hello, South Florida. We're back, and again, we have an action-packed program. We're bringing you the latest in dermatology from the top dermatologist in the area, Dr. Brent Schillinger, right from around the corner in Delray Beach. We're just talking about a lot of the cosmetics now, Botox, Sculptra, etc., that I just mentioned, and you can see it all on drbrentschillinger.com. Those are treatments that are done right there in the office, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of that stuff, you can do it, and you go home, and you'll see the results right away or within a couple of days. Wow.
And now, I know you're in the news recently. You're helping Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, their gang unit with gang tattoo removal. So these are normally people who have changed their lives around and apply to get some help. Maybe they had a tattoo on the face or whatnot, and they're trying to get a job and you know, trying to be good characters in society. And you help a little bit by helping kind of take the tattoo away. I mean,
yeah, that's a very important part of the program, because what happens in a lot of the gangs, they'll get tattoos of different types of symbols, like these little dollar signs, which I think means they killed somebody or something. They'll get it on their cheeks even. So, you know, they want to go through a rehabilitation process, but if they're permanently marked with a tattoo, they can't possibly have that. So we partnered with the Sheriff's Department, and these, mostly men, they have to apply through this program to show they're committed to that. And we've had some very good success with removing the tattoo, in most cases 100%. So they can have, at least physically speaking, normal lives, and, you know, we're able to be part of the process of making these folks responsible citizens as they want to be and integrated well into society.
And they can maybe even get a job and kind of change their life around.
Let's try getting a job with a big tattoo on your face.
Unless you're Mike Tyson, I don't think.
It depends what you're applying for.
Yeah, and he made his money years ago. So is that something that you do in your practice also outside of helping, you know, former gang members? Do you, someone comes in, Dr. Schillinger, I got this tattoo years ago in college, and I just don't like it. Is it something that...
Usually it'll be some guy who's like an executive working for a big company, and they won't give him a promotion because he's got that tattoo he got that night he was drunk when he was in the Navy. Not unusual. The first tattoo that I ever took off was a woman who had her boyfriend's name tattooed on top of her left breast. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, she was getting married to a guy by a different name. So I had to ask her, do you want us just to remove it, or should we like tattoo the new guy's name on there?
Yeah, I think she wanted it removed.
We removed
there
it.
you go. Now, is that a one-step process normally?
No,
I read about that, and I feel like that it's you come to the office a few times for that, right?
To keep in mind, getting a tattoo can be a one-step process. Okay, removing it, generally speaking, you need at least like 3 to 5 or more treatments spaced out over a year or two. So
laser?
It's with laser. The good news is, this is one of the few things that only a laser can do. You know, a lot of things, lasers, you could use a scalpel, you could use a scissor, but for tattoo removal, lasers are phenomenal. And for many, many tattoos, we can treat them to the extent that once they're gone, you can't even tell there was anything there. No scarring, no nothing.
Wow. Is it painful?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Depends where how high your motivation level is. But we have ways we can numb it first. We can put a cream on it. It's not that painful, but it can be a little uncomfortable.
Well, I read about it, but that is great that you offer that, even, you know, for people trying to change their life around, I guess in both parts of society, like you mentioned. Another thing that we have time to talk about, and this is so dear to my heart, I don't know, I've told this story a few times. I used to be a chef. I've lost a lot of friends to opioid abuse over the years. I think 5 in Delray over the last 5 years. But I was reading an article that you were quoted in, and in 2016, there were 590 opioid-related deaths in Palm Beach County. Wow, I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah,
590.
The numbers are crazy. And if you look on a national level, look at the 2016 data, more people died of drug and opioid overdose than died in the entire Vietnam War.
Wow.
Imagine that. And in the U.S. today, it's about 150, 160 people a day, which is like having not a 747, but a 737 crashing and blowing up in the sky every day. If we had that happening in the airplanes, people would be doing something about it. It's happening with opioids. So people are beginning to do something about it. And here in Palm Beach County, it has nothing to do with dermatology, but because of my interest in medical ethics, which I've been involved with over the years, I've taken on the chair of our initiative for the medical community on stepping up to the plate and doing some things with turning this opioid crisis around.
And that's also with Palm Beach County Medical Society?
Exactly, through the Medical Society and Medical Society Services. And we are looking at things. We've already had a couple of meetings, and we had a big seminar the day before, coupled with the Future of Medicine, which you did a great show on.
Oh,
Dr.
thank
Dennis,
you.
my colleague. And we are looking to copy some of the things they've done up in Rhode Island. So we're actually looking at all aspects, not from a legal point of view, but from the medical health point of view. We're looking at attacking prevention of the opioid abuse, prevention, rescue, treatment, and recovery. So all those aspects are critical, and we're bringing all the players together locally, because everything is local. You know, you have a lot of stuff coming from federal and state, but we want Palm Beach County to be a model for doing good things, as opposed to, oh, look at how many deaths they had from opioids this year. So it's a process. We're not going to turn this around overnight, but we have all the key players participating in this, and hopefully we're going to make some important steps.
Now, I'm going to give Palm Beach Post a shout out too, because I read the article there. Very well informed article that you're quoted in. You can find all this information online. Just search it. But kudos to you and your team for doing that. I know you're working with Congresswoman as well.
Yeah, so Lois Frankel.
Lois Frankel, who we know from West Palm Beach, former mayor of West Palm Beach, now a U.S. representative representing West Palm Beach.
Exactly.
In the U.S. House of Representatives. So that's great. So, yeah, keep up the good work, and thank you for doing that. Like I said, you know, I was in the restaurant industry for years, and, you know, it gets a little wild after work sometimes, and people go a little overboard, and I actually lost 5 friends in the area. So we got about 3 more minutes. I know you're getting ready to go back to the Bahamas, which you love dearly, Eleuthera, which
my
we
wife
talked
is
about.
Bahamian.
That's right.
From Bimini, so I owe it to her to give some good things to her country and her people.
And they are great people.
They are, and we're going to be working again with our friend Lenny Kravitz. Yeah. I don't know if I showed you the picture of us with him last year.
That was awesome.
He's getting us in there to his island there in Eleuthera. So hopefully we'll have the opportunity, like we did last year, to treat several hundred people.
And these are health clinics as well as dermatology?
Well, he set this up with his dentist, Dr. Jonathan Levine, out of New York City. And so they're doing a huge dental clinic, and we're bringing in some of the medical component as well. So we're starting with the people in Eleuthera. It's been like about a once-a-year project now for the last couple of years, though we're looking to take that to a higher level. But everything is step by step.
Wow. What's Lenny like?
What's he like? He's very cool. You know, we're at his house every night, and there were like 30 or 40 of us, and he's feeding us, and he's playing DJ, over by his old radio there, and he's playing Michael Jackson music. So I went over to him. I go, Lenny, when you visit Michael's house, are they playing Lenny Kravitz music? He just smiled.
Yeah, I bet they were, for sure. That is awesome. And never had a chance to go to Eleuthera, like I told you last time. My uncle spends a lot of time there, but it's definitely on my list. And thank you for helping them out, too. I really, they're our neighbors. I'm from Jupiter, as you know. It's right across from Freeport. Yeah. That area, the West End. So I've been over there a lot, and I just love I love all the island people. In South Florida, we have great people from Haiti, Jamaica, Bahamas. So kudos to helping them out, and it's a great country as well. So you're going to have some of the nicest weather in the world come Sunday over there in Eleuthera.
Is that what they're predicting?
Well, we're getting our cool front here, so I imagine the weather there is going to be just outstanding.
I hope so.
Sunday and next week, probably the brightest sunny skies we've seen.
But we'll be in the clinic slicing and dicing.
Oh, okay. So, well, at least you'll have that energy of great weather, you know. Well, thanks again for coming on the program. I know we only have about 40 seconds. I'm going to use that info to give your information out. I'm going to use that time to give your information out. Dr. Brent Schillinger, again, he has an office in Delray Beach. It's 3100 South Federal Highway, Suite 8. 561-278-1362 is the phone number. You can get all this info at drbrentschillinger.com as well. Thanks for coming on the program. You're always a friend of the program.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, let us know what goes on in the future and how the Bahamas went and anything else.
Absolutely.
On the How to Stay Healthy show.
We'll keep you in the loop.
Definitely.